we doing? No, that is nice. You enjoy that. Come on. Oh, this is...
I got it right now.
Switch to this way. Need some more.
Ellie, are you running?
My name is Eli Bazan. I'm the co-founder of the Parasol Patrol and director. This is my partner, Pasha.
Yeah, I'm the other co-founder. Pasha Ripley, she, her. And we started the Parasol Patrol in 2019. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We shield children and young people from protesters at LGBTQIA+ and BIPOC events. We walk between children and their families and protesters, and we use like our umbrellas as shields so they won't have to see the signs and the angry faces. And we even have noise canceling headphones for little kids because grown adults will come with bullhorns to yell at children.
And today here in Bellefontaine, absolute best case scenario. There was a lot of chatter online leading up to the event from Blood Tribe, Proud Boys, Project 171, all these different groups that had made it known they were going to come out here today. And they will no doubt be online tonight claiming how they wasted all of our resources. But you know what? Having this community come together and do this is what it's all about. This is the best case scenario for us. You know, I mean, yeah, we traveled out here, but having the community come together and being able to talk to them about being able to help out with the Pride, well, tomorrow and Sunday. And getting everybody to come together and the support from the community. We had our rainbow wall up on the main street there, and the majority of everybody driving by was supportive, which is amazing to see in a small town.
Yeah, we've been at some places where people have honked for Westboro Baptist Church on their side of things. But the other half of our mission is to show young people that we support them. Eli and I both grew up in rural areas. I grew up in Oklahoma, being an overweight Korean queer kid. And so we want to be, I know this sounds so corny, but we want to be the grown-ups that we didn't have when we were kids, so that, you know, they know that their whole community supports them. Of course, fabulous queens, but also people they see in the grocery store, one of their teachers maybe, or even from their church that are willing to come out and support them in a non-confrontational way.
Yeah, it was like I say, just a great day. So what we usually do is we will escort families from their vehicle past protesters and inside the venue. For those of you who are in Wadsworth, you saw kind of a worst case scenario of what we do, having a separated parking lot and having to walk through, you know, 400 protesters. That was a worst case scenario. Today, absolutely perfect. Everything worked out great. We had no protesters to worry about at all. It was just a great day.
Yeah, and we are non-confrontational, 100%. We do not engage with the protesters. We don't butt heads with them. We don't bring signs out back to kind of contradict what their signs. We feel like it's important for the kids to keep them as safe as possible, and when people are yelling back and forth and we're trying to reduce that chaos, it's very counterintuitive. So, yeah, that's not very glamorous, but that's what we do.
Can you talk about community defense as opposed to just relying on the police to protect the community?
We protect us, right? I mean, I think today was a perfect example of seeing a community come out to actually stand in the gap. And we had folks out here who didn't know anybody else they were coming to protect, but they were willing to come out here and put themselves in the gap and stand and be that peaceful barrier. While we work with police when we have to, and we try to have I made sure to introduce myself, told them who we are, what we do. I don't rely on them to keep us safe. That's what we do. And don't get me wrong, on days like today when I see a police presence driving around, I see police here on bikes, they were here, and that was wonderful. But I prefer to just rely on us to keep us safe.
Yeah, today was kind of the best case scenario in that the organizers did communicate with law enforcement and told them we did not want a heavy police presence here, but they were available should we need them, which was great. But yeah, we've run into situations where the police were just beyond a problem versus being supportive.
Had there been issues where the police prevented you from your creation of a wall and shielding?
Yes. Short answer is absolutely yes. Not just back home in Colorado, but across the country. North Carolina, I remember having some problems where they just didn't want us to be doing what we're doing, and they thought that our umbrellas were going to be used as attack weapons, or as that's not what we do. We are non-confrontational. We're not here to have that fight.
Do we need to scoop?
Okay.
So, yeah, I was going to say, for instance, if we look at your videos from Wadsworth, the police line that was lined up, they had their backs to the protesters facing us like we were the threat. And that, I think, says a lot.
Yeah. There was in Wadsworth, one of the police officers was backing me up away from the blood tribe. And again, with his back to armed individuals facing me as a threat, holding a rainbow umbrella unarmed. So that's where it kind of gets a little dicey and we have little problems with them sometimes. But I mean, working with police, once we let them know and they understand what we are and who we are and what we do and how we do it, then it kind of allays some of their fears, because they're used to people coming out and wanting to have that back and forth dialogue and yell back and forth. And we've been doing this long enough where this is the best way to do it. I'm not going to change their mind. They're not going to change my mind. It just evolves into chaos, two adults yelling back and forth. So I think the best way that it works for us is just not to engage with them at all and just spin your umbrella.
I mean, who doesn't want to punch a Nazi? We just ask that you go 2 or 3 blocks away from the kids to get that going. And because Parasol Patrol focuses on children and kids events where they're going to be youth, that is very important for us to be non-confrontational. If it's an adult event, that we let them do their thing.
What would be your message to those sort of groups if they are watching?
We love them. We love y'all. We love those groups. We work really well with those groups. If they show up, for instance, and we know that they're going to engage with those protesters, we'll try and create some sort of sense of partnership with them and say, and we don't work with them or pre-plan or anything, but we will ask them, for instance, since you're going to be here and we know you're going to engage, can you push them back a few yards so that we have more room to walk the kids back and forth? We know that there are a lot of groups that have a problem with us because we are not confrontational, and they feel it's important that we kind of engage with them, even to show the kids as an example to engage with them. But like Eli said, we've been doing this so long, this is the safest way to do it.
Can you just talk about a little bit about the hatred that you've been seeing being at these events, and how do you feel about that, and what would be your message to those people who are spreading the hatred towards this community?
It's ramping up. It's no secret. The Proud Boys have made it clear they're going to do as much disruption this month as they can. Kind of why we figured this was going to be kind of a target, because it was on June 1st, First Day Pride. We're not backing down. We're not going anywhere. We've always been here. We will always be here. You can come out and you can try to rally people to hate all you want. We will continue to stay on the side of love and to support and to do our best to be a shield in between those you target and us, yeah. And
they always don't criticize and say that we are trying to parent their children. They have issues with books, some books, and even with immunizations, all kinds of things like that. And I think the same rules apply. They don't want us to parent their kids, as they put it, but they are more than willing to parent other children that aren't their own. It's very frustrating. All they're doing is scaring children, but that's the point. They come out to terrorize families and use those techniques. They'll come out in full military gear with weighted gloves and even armed. And so, like Eli said, we don't want to increase tensions. So that's part of why we do what we do and how we do it.
Yeah, the whole claim is that they're protecting the kids, and meanwhile they're actually the ones who are frightening the kids, like we saw in Wadsworth.
Yeah.
They're doing more damage to the kids than anybody else.
And in Wadsworth, one of the gentlemen who was arrested on the right-wing side for assault later in the afternoon, he had his 11-year-old son there.
Yeah.
And his 11-year-old son spent the day calling me every name that his father was. So
Yeah.
while they're sitting there and they're calling us groomers and saying we're doing this, meanwhile he's created this little hate monster who hates everybody who doesn't look and sound just like him.
Yeah, and the dad actually handed him the megaphone. And so he was following Eli around, calling him the other F word, maggot, and things like that. And to hear that kind of language coming from another kid, sometimes we hear from children, from their peers, telling their peers, run away from your parents, they're dragging you to hell, all kinds of things.
No problem. Way too many. Hey, how are you?
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, we're running. And we're running.
There's a card there, Mom. This will get you to do it.
B-roll of you. Let's go. Did you know that? The guys are getting B-roll of you. Yes, we're working on the grill. Oh, hey. Better you than me. Here.
Here, go play with your brother. We're running negatives.
Woo!
Do a spin, give a spin. We're getting a full coverage. Unlike my foundation, we're gonna keep going.
Well, you know, I didn't even wear them.
I was born intersexed and have transitioned to male, and from that experience it showed me just how much people don't really understand it or don't understand any of the LGBTQ stuff. So I definitely want to come out and help spread awareness and understanding that half the stuff people are afraid of is not something to be afraid of. We're not here to do anything other than exist, love, and accept as much as we can, as freely as we can.
Absolutely.
Right in the middle. There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Clap your hands for the queens today. So we're going to continue throughout this weekend.
87 when is it going to start running?
There's a large concentration of hateful messages that we are constantly receiving and extending the branch in our DMs, personally. Our families are made into memes, and we would love your support to make sure we can continue to do that. I loved hearing those horns honking today. Those are citizens of Bell Fountain showing that they do have pride for us, and it literally brings me to tears because sometimes it's hard to feel loved in the community, and I definitely felt it today.
This is the only lap you'll see me running.
It looks like people want you about this.
There's green somewhere.
You were smart enough to do this part. We had a...
I understand that a lot of it is just a lot of it is just because of how they were raised, and unfortunately either they won't look further than that or they just can't because of whatever they're in. So I understand that there's just a lot of misunderstanding that's there, and hopefully with enough persistence or at least enough exposure they'll be able to understand that we aren't a threat. You know, we're not here to attack them. Whatever they think that we're taking away from them, I would love to know what that is, because it doesn't exist.
Right.
Where they're taking a lot from us, or trying to, and I would really like to understand them as much as I hope that they'll learn to understand us.
Hold it like a shield.
Hold it like a shield.
Yeah, I'm too socially awkward to ask.
You have a phone? You take it with? Huh? Can we take it? You take a picture with you?
How you doing?
It's a bit hard to breathe, but at least my face doesn't get posted nowhere.
Yeah, I hear you.
You guys got it? Woo! How many more laps do y'all have? We have that a mile yet?
3 more.
Also, everyone's over a mile. I don't know.
I think we're on what, 4?
Oh, you don't look like you have any green. Come on.
Make a tie-dye back.
One more? Give me a spin.
I was part of the community, so they said, hey, you can
Right, everyone do a spin. We're gonna run backwards now. Gotta get the other side of the shirt.
I definitely want this side.